Hi guys. So recently I entered the Assetto Corsa Competizione Sprint Series, which is for rookies and markers essentially. So effectively I entered the series with very little experience in Assetto Corsa, which is probably my first mistake. But I wanted to try and get more familiarity with the cars and the setups before trying to enter any more competitive races. So the series starts with a set of evaluation races over the course of a week. And, you can enter as many or as few of those evaluation races as you wish. I entered one set of races, which is two races, one qualifying session and a practice session. And that happened to be the first session. There were quite a lot of experienced, as in previous season members there, and I didn't qualify particularly well, as we were about to see. So should we say tentative on the throttle and brakes, but yeah, it took a bit of time to get the tyres warmed up, mostly because I spent a couple of minutes going through setups, making sure I had the right setup selected, and then just trying to get a feel for how the car is going. Slowly getting up to speed, making sure I've got a bit of a gap here, and yeah, that's what I was doing really, trying to get the tyres warmed up. Completely missing apexes everywhere, but this was first lap, it's an out lap, isn't really important, not pushing that hard, just getting up to speed, making sure the tyres are warm. And also, as this is free practice, I believe I was running my race setup just to make sure everything was okay there, because honestly the race setup was more important than qualifying for me. Although in brands it's a good idea to qualify at the front. Not mentioning any more about that, seeing how badly I qualified. We'll do what we can. We're coming through Paddock Hill Bend, just clipping the apex quite well, but losing the back end a bit. Stepped out there. The rears are still a bit tight, still a bit cold. And no traffic behind me really at this point. Wasn't too bad on that. Slowly easing myself in, so I wasn't really pushing very hard at this point. Just making sure I keep it on the grey stuff. Took a bit too much curve there, which pushed me out to the curve on the other side. This one you can take a bit more curve than I did there. It's okay. Had a lot of steering lock on though. Could have been a bit better. Take more curve there, it doesn't throw you out in the grass so much. And this is pretty much our first lap. I think it's okay. I mean, there's obviously a frame rate drop there, which put me out a little bit. Hopefully with the new system spec I have now I won't have that issue so much. So that was a 1:29, which is a few seconds, or 4 seconds off of my fastest pace. But we are on a green track, so can be forgiven a bit. Maybe not for taking out the marker though, that was a bit clumsy. Went a bit wide here, just kept it out for the following car. There's the big green beast behind me. I think I just got out of it just to let them through. Maybe I didn't. I should have got out of it to let them through. There were a couple of times that I tried to let people past, and I think I need to practice a bit on that front. There we go. I was just letting those two through. Lee and Strasser. A couple of good battles with those two. Some clumsy manoeuvres, not actually from me for a change, but yeah, we'll talk about that when the races come up. So you can see I'm way back on time and not really doing much here. He spun it there. I think it might be their first attempt in an Audi, but I've heard that thing can spin out on you pretty easily. with its default settings at least. And definitely from some frame drops there around this circuit, which probably isn't helping my consistency. Like I said, I've got a new system now, so hopefully that will be less concerning in the future. And now we're gaining a lot of time on ourselves because we hadn't really pushed at this point. Just trying to get a time in, trying to see where I can get on a green track, because honestly I hadn't really practiced on a green track, and the practice servers were on fully rubbered in, which is considerably faster. A bit slow around here. Took it tight, but didn't necessarily keep the throttle down. Some room for improvement. A bit better around here, not flipping the curb too much, which is much better. You can see by how much time we've gained there. Probably the right amount of curb there, though lost a bit of time. Probably eased off on the throttle. We're good here as well, although we've still lost that time. Maybe we can get some of it back. Perhaps not. We've only got one corner to go. This is one I'm more likely to stuff up than any other. No, it's okay. Got a bit of time back, and this is in the 1:27s, which I think is roughly where I qualified. So, okay, I think that's enough of the free practice. Let's move on to the qualifying session, shall we? And see how that went. So here we are in qualifying. Just loaded up my qualifying setup. It has been tweaked a little bit from now. Entering the track. And honestly, I think I possibly should have waited a little bit because there's quite a lot of traffic in front of me. Give them a bit of space. But wary of the traffic behind as well. Just again trying to warm up these tyres. They do seem to take a while to warm up here. For whatever reason, I think the track temp is quite low. Excuse my keyboard noises, a bit clunky. So yeah, going through and just warming it up a little bit, hopefully. Now the qualifying session is 10 minutes long, whereas the free practice was 15 minutes, as we saw earlier. So we have less time to try and get a lap in, and that means if you foul up, you've got fewer laps you can complete. Now, unfortunately, I'm a bit of a racer that takes a few laps to be able to get up to speed, and that really doesn't help me very much when we've got a 10-minute session. That means I push before I'm ready, and I tend to make more mistakes then. So for warming up, I'm taking a little bit too much curb, possibly some track liberties, as ACC is complaining. You can see a little red text for the timer, which suggests that I have that disallowed, even though it's an outlap, so it doesn't really matter. Now it's time to try and push. See the traffic in front distracting me a little bit, but run a bit of curve. I don't think it costs me much time. Getting in just a little wide there. It's okay. Coming into Clark. That's pretty good. A bit slow. Maybe I should have been going a bit faster around there. Seem to have quite a lot of curb left. Took a bit of an early apex here for some reason, but still missed the apex. Caused the back end to spit out. Cost me all the way up the straight. Little bit of curb there, nothing too bad. Again, I think I could have been going a bit faster. Probably a bit too much curb there. Unsettled the car a bit. Just a bit of an early turn in, which has meant I'm on the grass. Oh, not great. And can't stop it in time. Managed to just stop it, but still cost someone a lap there. is really unfortunate. I apologise for that. I think I did actually. So yeah, I'm doing okay. Let's just try and get a lap in, shall we? That would have been a 1:32, and quite frankly, before the weekend, that was my lap times anyway. However, I was disallowed because I went off. Nearly took someone with me. Luckily, there was no impact, so no safety points lost. I've noticed here that the display is slightly offset. Obviously, something's gone wrong during recording. Let's check on that and know what's going on there. Should it be showing you a little bit more of a central view? Later on, we'll go through and show the replay of the race at least. So you can have some prettiness rather than this slightly skewed view. I'm unfortunately going to go through the whole video because I did one continuous record. This lap is looking a bit better. So a bit wide there. Of course, this is still my banker because I haven't got a lap in yet. We're 2 laps in. We're already 5 minutes through the session, so I've already wasted effectively half my session time. And this is a 1:29. Yeah, 1:29.1. I seem to get my line a bit fluffed there. Great. Still managed to turn in though. I'm making quite a lot of time here. Already half a second up in the first couple of corners. Just a little bit there and flat, but getting it back on exit. Definitely using a lot more track now. Do I get turning better here? No, it's not bad. I think it's just a little bit too tentative and throttle. You can see how much time I gained back just from being able to get a good run off the straight. Not too disappointed with this lap time. I think this ended up being my final lap time. I believe I did get another one in, but I'm not going to bother showing you guys that because it was only, I think, a 10th faster. So yeah, 2 seconds up. We're looking a lot better. Lost time here, not a huge amount. Surprising, seeing as I went off there. Okay. Yeah, that's 2.4, just under 2.4 faster. So that's a 1:26. For reference, my fastest around Brands Hatch is a 1:25.5, so still quite a bit of time off. But this track is in fast rather than full Robert, so that probably accounts for some of that time. As you can see, I'm already 2 tenths up in the first sector. But I'm not going to continue this because unfortunately I did lose most of that time later on in the lap. So let's go straight back into the first race. So let's watch the carnage of the first few laps, shall we? And then we'll switch to the second race because unfortunately the first race for me was pretty much at the back of the grid as soon as the first few laps were away. Don't believe that was all my fault. Actually, I did get punted from behind, which unsettled the car and caused me a few issues. Let's just take it in, shall we? Just trying to keep it consistent. Nearly got rear-ended. Actually, don't have collision on, thankfully, during formation because that would be terrible. Just trying to keep close to Van Gastel. And Didn't very successfully keep my speed there. Terry went straight into the wall here. Everyone try and take avoiding action. Try to keep it tight so I could get a nice clean exit. Oh my god, and that's where I get punted and managed to keep it on this one. To keep it wide because there's a car on my inside, and I get punted again. And that really unsettled me, as you can see. Very touring car-esque, that kind of tactic. See, I'm not last, but the guy right at the back's already got a drive-through, so God knows what happened to him. And yeah, the rest of my race was pretty much watching the back of Otley, who punted me off. Didn't really pump me off, but gave me enough of a love tap to unsettle me. Now I was very tentative on brakes whenever cars came close. I didn't want to rear end anyone. I really probably should have been less hard on braking. It did cost me a lot of time. So those closing distances unnerved me a little bit. Not used to close racing like this. You race with the AI, they're very they're just not aggressive at all, they're very passive, so they get out of your way pretty quick. I found Oldie wasn't particularly quick, but somehow managed to keep ahead. So trying to get past there, he came and tried and nudged me, which meant that I was unsettled and he got back ahead. But that Audi does seem pretty quick in a straight line. Don't know if it's just I'm terrible with my corner exits right now. Could possibly be a bit of both. Yeah, the first race wasn't that interesting, so I'm going to go and skip to the second. So, same affair, still 17th. With higher expectations, I think, for this race. So you had a little bit more, should we say, practice after doing the first race. I was determined not to be as tentative as I was in the first. Double file again. Just trying to keep close to Gastel in front. Really outbraking himself massively there. So kind of bunching up a little bit, wanting to get more speed. Not able to maintain that gap, so I have a bit more of a run on Gastel. Got a huge run on him, but I had to slam the brakes on because he didn't get his foot on the throttle. I had to take avoiding action there. I was lucky that there's no one on the outside because I don't think that was judgment. Oh, just managed to avoid. Probably just stopped dead there. Wasn't expecting that. Again, Terry had a terrible start. He's hassling him right now. On the inside. Something's gone wide there. And then we've got Daly, Gastel. A little bit more fun for me this race. Got more people to play with. Just take Gastel, but had to back out of it because Daly was in the way. Which then was giving the Ferrari behind me a little bit of interest. You can see that the low sun is going to bother me later on this track. I can already see it on the windscreen. Trying not to let that affect me just yet. I'm keeping close to gas, or as close as I can. And yeah, Porsche looking a bit squirmy in places. I think everyone did a reasonable job of keeping it clean. There are a few incidents here and there, but nothing massively irritating. I mean, we're all beginners. Oh, Trek IR, come on! I need to get that thing fixed because that is severely irritating. Looking left and right like that when you're trying to go into a corner. So I was using the Track IR first. I'm going to do a video on it later to show the benefits, drawbacks of it against VR. As I put a VR video that I'm also in the pipeline with. Just having a little bit of trouble recording that. So I lost a little bit of pace on Gastel here, the Van Gast. But yeah, I think coming back at him now. And you can see there's a gaggle of cars in front, so if you're able to get a little bit closer, maybe we can get some interest there. And I can see someone, I think it's Otley, just went wide, now it's blocked. Gastel just giving me a huge run on him, and I'll take that one. The amount of times traffic has caused me problems. You can see Otley's here, struggling to keep pace. So, tempted to go for that move. Lost a little bit and caught him on the apex of the corner. Again, probably could have gone on the inside, but wasn't worth the risk. So we didn't get a great exit there, so just trying to keep it tidy. Really heavily there that messed with my rhythm a bit. Just trying to keep the pressure on rather than actually make a move on him at this point. Thinking the pressure will be enough to get him out of the race. A bit wide, actually that's not too bad. Cost me a little bit of time, but not a huge amount. It's just those margins, trying to get them right. Around here you're massively punished if you get it wrong. So, see up these a bit wide again here, but actually that's not a bad time. Doesn't cost you a huge amount of time. Going on the straights. So we're doing well here, I think. We're not doing too badly, at least. We're keeping pace with the team. We're ahead of the Porsche that qualified ahead of us. Otley qualified behind us, and we'll just see someone parked on the side of the road. I think that is someone that happens to have an incident with us later on. Which we'll see probably better when I upload the raw replay footage later. So what I'm going to do is upload this little commentary video about the session. Oh, massively light there. What I was thinking. So yeah, I'll upload the raw replays as well so people get an overview of the races. And I'll probably do that for every race and do these little kind of commentary videos across the pairs. Just so I can have a shorter video on, you know, what went wrong and what I think went wrong during the race to help me get better and hopefully give you guys some entertainment. And the longer replays just so I can show off my shiny livery and also so you can see what the races are like overall. They'll still be following me, so you won't see much racing if I'm back of the field guy as I seem to be right now. You'll see something. You see what the tail end is like. See, Otley's actually holding me up here, and causing me to take some bizarre lines. I've kept it wide here, just kept off the track, just to let gas still by because, yeah, the caused me a lot of grief there. So I've lost a couple of places now. That's okay. We can maybe get them back. So we know we've got the pace to compete with these guys. It's just about keeping it clean. And I ended up getting so close behind Otley all the time that I struggled to keep my lines. My markers were being obscured. That's something I need to work on. I don't think using track markers is a good idea. Maybe finding another mechanism. I'm certainly not using the car in front because Ollie has a completely different way of driving to me, so it was putting me off massively. You can see Van Gastel here battling with Nergard. Looks like they're having a nice little battle. They're not too far from Motley. No one visible from behind. Oh, I see a Bentley. Maybe we can get these guys. Oh look, caught them massively there. And the Bentley caught us as well. Oh, the Bentley's gone off again. I think the guy driving the Bentley was massively fast, just that thing is a beast. Oh, I had to just take a very wide line there because of Gastel's braking. Managed to avoid a collision, that could have been pretty nasty. Giving myself a bit of a breather, getting a bit out of breath talking about this. But yeah, it's pretty entertaining driving it as well. Just keeping on my feet, making sure that I don't lose too much pace. Actually losing time to Gastel now, as they locked up a bit. We're seeing a very wide line from me there. You just hear that note touching the gravel, and that just loses you so much time on the straight. Well, Track IR doing its thing again for us. Luckily we were in a corner and not actually racing anyone in the corner, because otherwise that would have been nasty. I do have the powered headset for that coming, so hopefully the powered reflector will mean that I don't have these incidents. Otherwise I think I'm going to have to stop using it, because it did cost me time. It cost me time in qualifying, it cost me time in the race. I mean, it didn't look like it cost me much there, but I could have been right on the back of the Porsche. Oh, they went a bit wide there for some reason. I don't think they spotted their line very well. Yeah, just tight. Getting all very bunched up again now. Only can end in disaster. So yellow flag, but it seems to have gone. Managed to get a good run on Gastel, managed to avoid his back end and just kept it floored. Give me a bit of pace on him on the inside line, so I managed to just keep it in. So you had to brake a little harder there to make the corner, but that wasn't bad. Bad at all. Now I've got these guys in my sights. Get a move on and see if we can get on to them. See Ollie's being a bit of a mobile chicane at the minute. No guards got him. You can see they're doing pretty well actually. It's nice close racing. Lost the Porsche. It's now a good chunk of time behind us. But the Bentley's still looming. Deep there. Got a run on him. Trying to keep on the outside and then do a switch back. Oh, which I do quite successfully there. Bad, bad. Trying to keep it in. To the Audi coming, but no, managed to keep it in. We'll lose them a bit here actually. But touch that grass and you can see them coming. Oh, and they outbrake themselves completely. Set me wide. And this is where I get punted off by the Bentley. So it was all great racing until that point. And then ultimately I finished 15th. It took me a while to get turned around here, because the grass is pretty slippery. Spencer did apologise for this. It wasn't necessarily entirely their fault. Maybe I was braking a bit early because of cars around me, but still, racing incident. Possibly could have got a bit of a penalty for it. But then having what Otley did to me in the first race was worse. Okay, I think that's it for the commentary. At this point, the car's a bit bent, so I just didn't manage to get any kind of lap time out of it, and I did get a couple of positions back. I ended up 15th, but yeah, no close racing from this point on. Like I said, if you want to see the whole race unfold, please watch the full race replays that I'm uploading. Okay, until next time, please like or subscribe, and be seeing you.